right? And I'll go straight to the 8th verse. All right, so this is Mark 13 and 8. It says, "For nation shall rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom," and that's what you're having right now, man. You got nations rising up against nations, right? So-called, different domiciles rising up against different domiciles right now, man. All right. It says, "Kingdom against kingdom, and it shall be earthquakes in diverse places." Right, and I like to bring this scripture out a lot because that's like a sign. What the Lord pretty much said, what the disciples said to the Lord just before he made those statements was what was going to be the parting asunder of the times. Pretty much when he was going to set this thing loose, man. When was he going to take the Romans out of power? Which you going to see when the Romans came into power? All kind of wickedness, right, manifested upon the earth. That's how we know who the wicked is in accordance to the scriptures. All right. They were saying when he was going to take Esau out of power and set us back forth into our power seat. And the Lord said this is what's going to happen, right? As that begins to happen, right? And that you was going to have rumors of wars. Or in fact, it goes in to say that. He says you're going to have nation rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and that's what you have, man. Right? The so-called ancient Soviet Union out there, right? Like it says in the scriptures, like it says in the scriptures, there's nothing new underneath the sun, right? So what you got right now is where you had how you had the Cold War, all right? That's what you're having again, man. The resurgence of the Cold War, and a lot of the articles that you get into talking about World War III and how it's going to manifest, they're saying that Cold War vibe, that Cold War spirit is up again, man. All right, namely Russia building up its military presence. Right, and linking up with the people that they linked up back in the Cold War, and really, I should get into more, into the history of the Cold War more, because really that's going to tell us what's going to happen in the future, right? And without a shadow of a doubt, man, I'm pretty damn sure how it played out back then is how it's playing out now, man. All right. Now it says there, and they shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and it shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrow. So those were the beginnings of sorrow, right? That's how sorrow was going to start to come about, man. Right, now, when you go into these different books, I'm gonna get into these different chapters, like Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, and all of that, man. Right? That's how you knew it was going to be the beginnings of sorrows. But the sorrows, when the sorrows come to pass, man, right? It was gonna be famines, right? Because you're gonna have earthquakes, so you can't get to certain places by taking trucks and all of that. And by way of the plagues that come, which we know the main plague through Zechariah the 14th chapter on the 12th verse is the ICBM nuclear missiles, right? Right. Those were gonna, after that, like it says in a good chapter about the nuclear missiles is the book of Isaiah the 24th chapter. That goes into it. It says it's gonna be a day of darkness, gloominess. The earth is gonna rule to and fro, right? But also it says the earth is gonna be darkened, right? And when it's dark, you can't cultivate any land and grow fruit in that, man. So what's that going to mean? That means it's going to bring forth famines. All right. A lot of people going to die by way of hunger, man. Right. A lot of people going to die by way of the nuclear winter, man. All right. It's going to be dark. It's going to be cold. All right. And a lot of those strategically, what are those enemies, right? Those different kinds of countries that are enemies to the United States, right, and NATO and so on and so forth. But they ain't gonna just blow up some heavily built up areas. Not just those areas that they're gonna blow up, man. So they're gonna get blown up as well. What they're also gonna go for is them power stations, the nuclear power stations. And what's that gonna do? That's gonna amp up whatever missiles they're gonna send forth from Russia and China. That's just gonna amp it up, man. And I believe it was just a couple of days ago, you had it to where South Korea developed a missile that can reach America in an hour. And what's that going to prove? That's going to prove what it says in the scriptures, man. In 1 hour is your judgment going to come. And what's that judgment for? Right? For having the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans in the worst form of slavery that they ever been in. Right? Right? Having it to where, you took away the name, like it says in the book of Revelations, 11th chapter and 8th verse, where the name of the Lord was crucified. All right, having that name removed from us, right? Namely, not knowing that we're the children of the Most High, and falsifying the fact that the ghetto rights that you got out there in the land of Israel, right? They're Edomites, man. They're the chief house of Edom, man. They're Amalekites, right? Having it to where they, you know, by way of the Balfour Declaration, having it to where they, right, were seemingly the real Jews, but we know through the scriptures, man, that they ain't, man. One, because they haven't got the salt, right? They haven't got the flavor, right? Two, because when they was going to return into that land, they was going to have the all 12 tribes, but they ain't got all 12 tribes out there, man. All right, it's just apparently it's just the Jews, man. But the Jews is nothing but a certain term of saying a certain way of saying Judah. So it's Judah, all right. So we know through the history that the Judah was the head tribe of the the Northern Kingdom, all right, and now encompass Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, all right. But ultimately, you know, through the prophecies, we know in the book of Ezekiel 36th chapter, that when the Jews was going to go back into that land, they was going to come back, and it was going to be the whole nations, man. All right, so if they're the real Jews, where the rest of the, where the rest of the 9 tribes, man? All right, because you got Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Okay, that that corroborates with the history, right? So where the rest of the 9 tribes? That goes to show you that they ain't the people of the Most High, man. All right. In fact, when you go into who they are and what they're about, right, you really find out that they're into Saturn worship, man. All right, they're into the worshiping of right, they're into worshiping what the Babylonians were into, man. And that's where you got it into this society. And every religion and every stream of understanding, they got it to where it's got some form of Babylonianism in it, man. Whether it be Christianity, all of that, man. It's got some form of paganism in it, man. Right? That's why they got it. That's why they have it to where your rest day is Saturday, right? Which is Saturn's day, right? Because they're all up into that, man. That's why they dress in all black and all of that, man. So they ain't the people on the Most High. They ain't got the front, man. All right. But the Most High set it up, right, through the so-called Balfour Declaration and all of that, that you have a military presence out there in Israel that was gonna, pretty much cultivate World War III out there, right? Because they got it to where now they when they had the nuclear weapons, you had it to where the other Arab nations want nuclear weapons. So you had a nuclear arms race, man. All right, and what came out of that? You had it to where the Americans wanted to go into Iran. You got it to where Americans are out there in Syria, and they're so-called causing humanitarian. The Syrian President Assad, which was set up by the CIA any goddamn way, right? Was so-called creating humanitarian. What's the word I'm looking for? He was supposedly hurting his own people. Now, how many times you heard that story before, man? Right, you heard it from when it was taken down. Who's this guy that used to Saddam Hussein? It was taking down Saddam Hussein when it was taking down Syria, not just Syria, sorry, Libya. All right, so when they was taking down Libya, they said the same thing. They said, what's this guy's name? I forget the guy that ruled Gaddafi. They said Gaddafi, right, was committing crimes of humanitarian crimes.
Yeah, I don't like to do it. That's the terrorist thing.
All right, man. Yeah, yo, man, you just gotta chill down, yeah. All right, I got a program running here, yeah.
I know what it's like. Americans get mad with them, don't they?
They what?
They get mad with people like Saddam Hussein that killed Gaddafi.
Oh yeah, but a lot of them guys are set up anyway. A lot of them guys are set up. Saddam Hussein was set up, man. He was set up as a puppet leader.
He gassed his own people, though.
He didn't gas his own people, man. They wanted to roll up into the land and steal all the oil, man. Anyways, look, man, I got a program to run. You either gonna sit there and be quiet, or you gotta get on going,
You're very clever, you.
All right, man.
What book you reading?
This is the scriptures. Look, man, I got a program I gotta be running. Man. Yeah. All right, you have a nice day, man. All right, man. All right. So this is back in the scriptures. Right, this is the book of Mark the 13th chapter, right, in the 9th verse, and says, "Take heed yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to council." So that's gonna be part, like I mentioned previously. Like I said, you're gonna have it to where these people are gonna be catching hell, and we're gonna be laughing at them. Hey, some of us are gonna be taken up to the council and made an example of. All right, but that's all part of the faith test, man. That's all part of the test, of the ultimate test, like the scripture says. there's gonna be an hour of temptation, man. Right? That's gonna be some brothers, excuse me, some brothers' hour of temptation. And that you're gonna be tested, you're gonna be seen, you know, they might put you on TV and say this guy did that and the third, and we found this on his computer, like they always say, man. Right? Apparently, you had some secret files on your computer, and then that's how they bring you down. And you know, the people are so foolish that they believe anything that they hear. All right, so they're gonna believe that. So that's gonna be the ultimate test of your faith, man. Right? But the scripture says, man, the Most High wasn't gonna test you beyond your strength, and the Most High was gonna deliver you out of the hour of temptation. All right, so it ain't gonna be a big thing when if you're gonna be taken to the council. Hey, you're just gonna suck it up, man. Hey, to the end, to where the scripture says some of the men is gonna die. Some of the men of the Lord was gonna die for this truth on this side, man. But they was gonna be the first ones on the chariots. Hey, some of the men have already died for this truth, man. Right? Namely, starting off with the King David. All right, they're already people that have already died for this truth, man. All right, but the Most High is gonna have it to where they're gonna be the first ones in them chariots, man. All right. So it says there, but take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to the council. All right. So I broke that down. It says, and you shall, and in the synagogues, and you shall be beaten, and you shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sake. And that's the same thing that happened back then, as we're gonna see in the history when I get down to the book of Maccabees. Right. We'll hit on Maccabees, the first chapter, showing you how the wicked came into power and all of that. All right. And when I hit the Maccabees, the second chapter, man. All right, you was gonna see in Maccabees the second chapter really talking about like what we're in right now, man. It's the state of time that we're in right now, to where you got the men of the Lord rising up, and pretty much we're looking around about us and we're seeing how destroyed our own people are, right? And we find it revolting. So we're forming an army, but really this army ain't for making war in that, all right? Because the scripture says, man, we were supposed to be as wise as harmless as doves, but as wise as serpents. All right, so this was more a spiritual battle, but the Most High in the same state and in the same statement is raising up the house of David, which is what likened down to what it was happening in the book of Second Maccabees, the first chapter, First Maccabees, second chapter, and the first verse on down, man. But I'm gonna touch on that a little bit later on, man. All right. So it says, for a testimony against him, and the gospel must first be published amongst all nations. And that's what you got right now, man. You got the word going out there. You could be out there and you go. Hey, I heard stories about brothers out there in China, man. You got brothers out there in Holland. All right, you got brothers all over the world, man. This is being published amongst all nations. All right, by way of the unicorn, man, by way of the internet. All right, it says, and the gospel must be first published amongst all nations. But when they shall lead you and deliver you, take no thought before you at hand, right? Neither do ye premeditate whatsoever about whatsoever shall be given to you in the hour speak ye, right? And pretty much, the point, right, is hit in that we're heading into that. Really, we're just waiting for the times of the beginnings of sorrow, man. We're already in a time where you got earthquakes in diverse places, where you got nation rising up against nation. That's done, man. Right, hell, that's nearly played out, man. We're hastening the day for when we're gonna get into the times of great beginnings of sorrow, man. The sorrow is gonna fall upon this place, man. All right, that's the time we're looking forward to, because as this kingdom's gonna be sliding out, ours is gonna be sliding in, man. All right, see, the kingdom's never. It really is always. Heaven's always in existence, man. All right, heaven being pretty much, man. Whoever is in top rulership at the time, man. All right, and whoever's on the bottom, they're in hell, man. So, Esau's going to be in hell, but we're going to be in a state of heaven, man, because we're going to be ruling over them Edomites, man. All right? So let me jump into the book of 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter, and the first verse on down. Right, 2 Ezra 15:1, it says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of this prophecy which I'll say into thy mouth. And that's what you have, right, by way of, that's how the word's getting published out there, first and foremost, right, amongst all nations, because you got the prophets, the men of the Lord, all right, that are pushing this word, and they're speaking it into the ears of the people, man, right, breaking down the scriptures, right, breaking down the different articles and different informations that you're gonna have, that's out there, right. taking away the information from the disinformation by way of the scriptures, man. All right, that's what you got right now, man. All right, it says there, and cause them to be written in the paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them that trouble thee and speak against thee. All right. So what's that talking about? That's talking about what, like how it says in the book of Mark, 13th chapter. All right. When you look, man, once you've been rooted within the scriptures and Esau sees you as a threat, right? There's a very true possibility that you're gonna be one of those men that's gonna be taken up to the council, beaten, on all of that. All right. But the scripture says, hey, fear not all of these imaginations, man. Don't fear all of that. Hey, when you get into the studying and you find out what devices Esau's got set up out here for destroying the peoples, principally you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, all right? Hey, it's like a fearful thing, man. You find out the food is all messed up. You find out the air that you're breathing is all messed up, man. All right? It becomes like a fearful thing, man. But the Most High said that's gonna be all right. And we get into the scriptures. It says, hey, that we was gonna eat poison, all right, but we was gonna live. All right, and that's the society we're living right now. That's why the Lord told the prophet to eat a man's dung, right? Because that was going to be lacking. That was foreshadowing the food and the state of living that was going to amalgamate within this society, man. Right? Which is another reason why this society is going to go out. All right? It says there, man, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So you got guys that were in this thing, that were in this truth, but they had effeminate tendencies, which is where the word faithfulness, which is the root word is faithlessness. All right, you had them guys there, man, and they didn't withstand it. They weren't faithful. All right, guess what, man? They're gonna be destroyed in their unfaithfulness. Man, how much more so the guys that were scoffing against this truth, man? How much more anguish is the Most High gonna bring upon it, man? All right, see, the Most High is gonna rain heavy in His wrath, man, against these dudes, man. Hell. It's been ever quoted that the elders say we're gonna jump over certain Edomites to get to you Negroes, man. You Negroes, you hard-headed Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. Hell, the scripture says in the book of Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, right? But begin at my sanctuary. All right, it says slay utterly old and young, but it also goes on to say begin at my sanctuary. Meaning to say when the cleansing comes, the ethnic, the cleansing of the world, it was going to start off as an ethnic cleansing, all right, and then we're going to cleanse everything else, all the other different nations, man. So we got to be 100 first before we start dealing with these other people. So we got to get rid of 2/3 of our own people, man. And hey, when I go into the next scripture, which is in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 8th chapter, starting off of the 50th verse, hell, Ezra got emotional about that fact. All right, which any prophet who was in that situation would have done the same thing. But the Lord said unto him, look, I created these people. How can you love these people more than I created them? How can you love these people more than I can? Because I created them. All right, they're gonna be destroyed. All right, that's why He says seek out. When I get into it, it says seek out men that was gonna be of the same mentality as you are, meaning men that was about this truth, man. They were down for it. Faithful men, like the scripture's talking about here, right? Not faithfulness dudes that are about the society, all right? And they're all up into making it out in the society. But we know the only way you can make it in the society is to sell out, all right? Let me get on to the scriptures. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." So that's what's coming to your society. You want to know about the future, all right? The future is nothing but, like the scripture says here, man. The future is nothing other than these words. It's gonna be plagues upon the world. We know the principal plague in the Zechariah, the 14th chapter and the 12th verse, where it talks about therefore shall the Most High bring a plague upon all the people that fought against Jerusalem. Now, what nation hasn't fought against the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, man? What nation hasn't done that? Right, so that plague is gonna hit all of these different nations, but really, it's going to principally hit you Edomites, principally America, like it says in the book of Revelations, the 18th chapter. In fact, I haven't got it listed, right? So I'm going to get into it right quick. Right, this book of Revelations, the 18th chapter, right? And he says here, "And after these I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was litten in his glory. And he cried with a mighty and strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils." Now we know how Babylon, through the scriptures, right, was a land that existed, Right? Pure wickedness, pure wickedness stems from them Hamitic nations, man. But that's what Esau does. He takes, the ancient mystics and he applies it to his society. But he takes all the mystics from all the different heathens, right? Because he figured pretty much that his enchantments, right, has to be better than all of the enchantments of the nations prior to him. So he uses all of them, man. Why? Because one, really, Esau is a nation without heritage. That's why they've taken our heritage and made it to be theirs, man. That's what they call themselves, the Jews, man. All right. But they've also, they've not only taken our religion and our identity, they've also taken the philosophies and the religions, the Egyptians, right, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, all of those different nations, man. And just like how all of those different nations were destroyed, that's how Babylon, which is the land of America, is going to be destroyed. All right, because Babylon, right, simply means a land of confusion. And when you go over there into the American, man, it's a land of confusion, man. All right, you got men that don't know if they're men or they want to be women, all right, which is nonsense. All right, and vice versa. All right, you got all kind of craziness happening in there. But the Most High said it's become the habitation of devils, like it says here, man. It says, and it's fallen. All right, it says, jump to the third verse. It says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy. So all of the stuff that that people get into in this society, man, that comes from America, man. Right? All of them, hey, the monetary system comes by way of the Americans, man. Right? The governmental structure, right? You go to where you had the Chinese currency fell a couple of months ago. Was it a month ago? A couple of weeks ago, rather more. All right, because these things be rolling out. It's like it feels like a long time before the last one happened, but really it's been like a couple of weeks, man. So this thing popped off a couple of weeks ago. Why? Because they simulate